Well, happy Friday. Good morning. Happy September, everybody. Thank y'all for being here. It's great to see everybody. We have a very great and exciting interview coming up this morning with Shemecka McNeil. She's the Executive Director and founder of Slice325. And so I know we want to jump right into that. I just have a couple quick announcements to make first. And the first being 1 week from today is our September monthly meeting from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. So please make sure that's on your calendars. And we're going to have a really great presentation from Christine Lau on advancing health equity by addressing social determinants of health. So please make sure to join us for that. Outside of that, as always, please announce yourselves, introduce yourselves in the chat, post any questions you have along the way. And with that, I'm passing it over to Heather.
Thank you very much. We were just talking about technology from the 80s, or, with Shemecka's awesome earrings. She's wearing cassette tape earrings that are just fabulous. But I'm so excited to welcome, as Virginia said, Shemecka McNeil, the founder and executive director of Slice325. And we're going to learn all about that. And I think it has something to do, I know it does, with my favorite topic, which is food. But also we're going to hear all about the organization. But first, Shemecka, we have a reputation here, which is always starting Friday Facts with welcoming our speaker and asking you to just take a few moments to tell us a little bit about yourself, where you grew up, what experiences shaped the awesome career path that you're on now, and the awesome earrings that already is coming through the chat line that people love.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm Shemecka. I'm from South Carolina, Myrtle Beach area. Um, I, to be honest with you, this was really a journey because me and one of my favorite cousin, we wanted to be farmers because we came from a farm family. And our parents said, no, you need to go somewhere else and try something new and get out of the country. So both of us went into medicine. So I started most of my career in healthcare and nursing and lab. And then I saw where it was in the health system, it was more of giving a pill for another pill for another pill instead of like kind of going up the stream to see why people are jumping in instead of getting them pills when they come down the stream. So I went back to school for health promotions with a minor in culinary because I wanted to be able to teach people about health and also show them how to cook it. So I tell people I kind of want to be the Walmart of my organization, like a one-stop shop. Um, so I did that so that I became well, my title now is health professional, chef, educator, and then I went back to farm school. So I'm also a farmer. So with all of that, it helped shape my organization. So it's not that we give out food or we do like soup kitchen stuff. We teach about the diversity of food, meaning that if you don't like this, you can have this. It has the same property. It might just taste different. And then we go down into the science of why you don't like this. And after going to school, I realized I used to tell my nieces and nephews, which I call my rental kids, that, you have to eat this, you have to eat this, this, that, and other. But then I found out that because we sometimes, some vegetables or things that we don't like, it's because of our genetics. So you can't help your genetics. So it's either you're in the bracket of super tasters or non-super tasters. So that's where you add like the salt and sugar and things like that to make things to taste good. So we teach about herbs and spices. We also do fun stuff about like plating and using colors and things like that. And all of that came out of a couple of different things. Part of my family has a history of hypertension and diabetes, and those could be reversed with diet. And then another one being we eat with our eyes. So when I went to culinary school, they always said, you have to have a restaurant or a food truck. And I was like, really, I don't want to do that. I'm really into food art. So if you see some of my dishes, they are healthy and they're budget friendly, but it looked like it came from a five-star restaurant because you want to, have a pretty plate. So that's kind of like where that came from. And the name Slice325 stands for Serving Locations Inviting Culinary Education 325 days out of the year. We're not going to dedicate the whole year 360, so we chopped it up so we can have like 40 days of mental health, so we didn't want to tell people the stories like we're going to do this every day. We want you to eat healthy every day, but in my classes I'm like, you can eat what you like, but you have to move. So we encourage moving to on the other side of the class we teach. As I know people say farm to table, but since a lot of people don't have farms, we say patio to table or porch to table, because we teach container garden also in our kind of like farm class. We do that. We teach how you can grow stuff in buckets or containers, or we do a lot of DIYs. DIYs are our favorite because we are budget friendly. We really make a dollar out of 15 cents, and we show you how to, because some people, especially in the Asian community, are on fixed incomes, so they need to have their dollars stretched to either buy medicine or either things like that. And also, you might want to go on a trip. So if you can save, about $120 at the grocery store because you grew your own stuff on your patio, and then you had other monies to do something else with, it's kind of like you're not feeling like you're living in a box or you just have to stay in one place. We incorporate fun. We also do incorporate art and music into our curriculum. With some of our older, which I don't like to say older, so I say my seasoned group, which is normally, well, I had it like 65 plus, but some of these 65-year-olds are running circles around me. So I upped it to like 70 because my oldest student was 91 years old, and I got him to eat beans, and he never ate beans because of the way that I made them. But I call it my season group. So they we name our dishes after songs that resonate with you. So we've had Earth, Wind, and Fire stew. We've had Toby Keith um, salad and things like that, because in our curriculum, we say, hey, you learned your states in the song, you learned your numbers in the song, your alphabet. We're going to learn this recipe. So kind of getting your brain moving a couple of different ways at one time. And I had this one lady was like, I was driving down the street and I remember that chicken Alfredo we made because the song came on. And you'll be surprised that when you get stuff that resonate with you, because if you're older, especially with me, I know when a certain song comes on, I know exactly what my grandmother was going to cook that day. Or I knew at Christmas time, we're doing this in the kitchen. She's going to make, excuse me, I hope anybody don't kill me for it. I don't like fruit cake, but I knew when that song came on, she was in a fruit cake mode. I know how to make fruit cake just because of that. So it's kind of like the same thing.
Oh
So
my
that's how that
gosh.
came up.
There's so much first of all, and I was taking so many notes because there's so many fantastic things, and I did get that sort of double entendre of the seasoned group. I love that, both the older group as well as the seasonings to make things. So I caught that. But okay, and really quickly, I realized you said Slice325, and we should do a shout out to your website, www.slice325.org. And Virginia and I both had a great time. We told you beforehand, stalking you, as people, we always tell our guests, we love researching you. So I did see that you did a transition, and that's a fascinating. Thank you for walking us through going from medicine, or actually first being interested in food and farming, going through medicine, back to culinary arts. But how did you decide you took this passion? How did you go from this passion to actually starting a nonprofit organization and saying, I want to start something? How did that come about?
That came about in the hospital setting, because it was like, I'm looking at people labs and I'm like, well, this could be better if they did this, and this could be better if they did this. But it was more of like, we need numbers.
Yeah.
So it was more quantity over quality, and the well-being of people's lives. And my goal is to live to 100. Now, after 100, I don't know what to do, but that was my goal, to live to 100. And I'm like, well, if people can, just change a little bit of things here or get moving, then some of these medications they can get off of. Now, I'm not I'm not saying all medications are bad, because if you need some, and there is some medications that you absolutely need to take every day, which I understand that. But I didn't want people to be a slave to medication, because I've seen like a lot of people have, like my grandmother was, for one, was on 14 different medications. So we kind of got her to change her diet. My mom too was on a lot of medications because she has a lot of underlying issues. So now that we got our diet right, um, started getting her to exercising, but making it fun, because I don't like going to the gym either. I do a lot of my exercises when I go to the community gardens that I work at, or help work and things like that, or if I go to a farm and things like that. But I do go to the gym, but I rather just spend my steps outside. So once I was like looking at people's labs and things like that, I was like, this could be changed with this one. They're not too far off with this one, but it didn't seem like other people realized that. It was just like, okay, we have to get these labs done. But I always wanted to know why. Why is this high? What are you doing? Okay, you're taking this medicine, but food is medicine also. So
Yeah.
what are you putting in your body? And to help, and then that sparked me to be like, okay, well, maybe people don't understand, the difference between this, the difference between that, what they can do with this, or either I see a lot of people eating the same thing over and over again. And another reason why I went into culinary is because with dietitians, they'll give you stuff to say, hey, this is what you need to eat to have surgery, or this is what you need to eat to bring this down, but they don't know how it tastes. So when the chef part comes in, it was like, okay, they need to eat this, but some people may not like this because of genetics, you know. Um, let's see how we can marriage this together. And I tell people, if you can find a nutritionist and a chef that's on the same page, that is a wonderful 60-year marriage. But
Yeah,
sometimes that doesn't happen because
absolutely.
they say this is okay, this is what they need. They have to eat this, but they don't know different diversity of food. And even different cultures can help, like the Mediterranean diet and things like that. Some of these other diets that we have the same thing over here in America, but we just need to know how, we need the recipe to know how to put it together. And sometimes it's a lot of times it's not even hard. It's more of, once you do it and you get to taste different things, so when you go in the grocery store, you'll start seeing, well, I don't know what this is. Or it's like I had a yellow dragon fruit. Yellow dragon fruit is good for vitamin A, C, um was it fiber and things like that, and it also helps people that have um, diabetes. But you looking at this yellow thing that looks prickly, I'm like, I don't know how to eat that. So
Yeah.
that's where I come in and say, this is how you eat it. Now taste it. We go back to basic skills in elementary school, the five senses: smell, taste, touch, things like that. And then they're like, oh, okay. So when they go in the grocery store, now they feel like they have more options. It's like, okay, I can do this because this has the same property as this, instead of just getting the same plain iceberg lettuce, the
Yeah.
same red onion, the same this, that, and other. It's
Please.
a rainbow of stuff that you can have. So I introduced that to people.
Oh my God. I could just keep saying, oh my gosh. All right. So now I want to do a bad pun and say, all right. So what was the recipe then, but for you to take these ideas and then you start? When did you start Slice 325? I mean, these are great ideas, but then you turned it into an actual organization. And so when did you start Slice 325, and how many, like, who joined your programs, and tell us about that?
I started Slice 325 in 2017. And that program, have you ever seen the movie Robots, the kids movie? It's a Pixar movie. It's a thing on there where this robot was this big robot that had organizations really nice, all for the community. And he said, if you see a need, fill a need. And I
Yes.
was watching that with my Rena kids. And I was like, you know what? I can probably apply that to what I'm trying to do with people. So in the lane that I'm in, it's kind of like I'm the mayonnaise in the sandwich, or the stuff in the, like the either the lettuce or the meat that's in the sandwich,
You're
because you
binding it
have the
all
food,
together with a little
yeah, you
piece
have
of
the
this
food bank,
ingredient.
and you have the soup kitchens and things like that, but they don't have the place in the middle that actually goes and say, okay, you can take this from the food bank and do it like this and then come out with this, or you can get this right here from this place, this meal, and I can tell you how it's going to kind of interact with some of your medications or what you're doing or things like that. So I'm like that in that mayonnaise. So I went to see a need, feel a need. So that's how it came out, because I'm a out of the box thinker and I'm really creative, and I seek for knowledge all the time because I have so many books. I'm about as close to the library. It's because if I see a book, I'm like, okay, let's look and see what they're having here, and maybe I can help with this. So in that sense, I read a lot to kind of um, give a cliff note to people, because some things, and you have to know your audience. Some people might not understand those 25 letter words and things like that. So I break it down and say, okay, it's this right here, but this is how to break it down. This is what you need, this, this. It's the same thing. So I can maybe talk to you a certain way. It's like how I talk to doctors, which they might not understand, or they not, it might be too simple for them to comprehend sometimes. Where if I'm talking to an older adult and she's not understanding what the doctor is saying, I'm like, oh, he means da 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 da. Da. So you kind of have to be bilingual a little bit
Yeah,
with that,
absolutely.
and have help navigate some of our Asian communities with things, because some of them are not really tech savvy. So I didn't know I was doing a hybrid until they said it was a hybrid, because I would have like PDF plus paper, and a lot of older generation love paper, which I don't mind.
Sure.
I still have to scrabble on a couple of like sticky notes and all this other kind of stuff. So that way they can have it to look back over, because they're not going to go to their computer. Some of them are like, okay, let me find that PDF that Shemecka
Yeah.
had to give me this, that, and other, versus, oh, I got the paper. The paper's over there on the coffee table, hand it to me. So I try to make it accessible for everybody.
Well, and you were sharing so much wisdom. I know it's funny, we're right in the middle of this interview, and I can't even wait to go back and listen again to all these great ways that you're sharing the knowledge and not just talking to you, but I love your website. And you have, I think, I don't want to insult anyone that has mission statements for their organizations, but I love your mission statement. It's, I'm going to say it, to educate on the diversity of food in an affordable and creative way. It's
Mhm.
just so clear, but there's actually so much packed in that one clear sentence. You talk about education, you talk about the diversity of food, and you talk about affordability and creativity. And how you, how did you decide that? Well, it sounds a little bit how you put that all together. I mean, we've heard a little bit, but how does that look for the people who come to Slice 325? How do you find people and how do you bring them in and educate them on the diversity of food and affordability and creativity?
A lot of my clients come from the Y. And a lot comes from community centers and things like that, where they go and they try to find something to do, or senior citizen centers. Those are really fun, and
Yeah.
they're really active and they want to know different things. And some of them, it's funny because it's like, well, my mom used to do this, and they're older than me. They're like 80 and stuff like that, and I'm like, okay, but let's think about it like this. When this came, your mom, bless her, I know she cooked everything really well, but just think about it like this. You have inflammation. Mom didn't really know too much about inflammation. So what we're going to do is we're going to put turmeric in our salad. We're going to put turmeric in our soup. So that helps with inflammation. So that way you might not like the taste of turmeric, but you're eating your vegetable, you're eating your medicine, and you don't taste it, because we have rosemary in there, thyme, other things like that. So you taste all of that. So it's like a marriage, but you have to know how to put it together so you can taste everything. And we're not putting a lot of salt in there also, because we use salt as a binding. So when you start tasting everything, that's where all of the creative stuff came from that you didn't know that you could do. And it also looks pretty. So I teach them, we're going to eat our medicine, and that's where the creative part comes in. And we also do like a spice making. So we want you to do have more herbs and spices in your food, because that's medicine too. So I have recipes for different spices, and then I let them make their own. I'm like, what do you like to eat? Do you like savory? Do you like sweet? Do you like this? And it's kind of like build a bear for spices. So we make spices and I give them a little jar. And then it was like, this is your own signature spice and make sure you write down what you put in it so you can do this at home.
Yeah, I just am loving the way that you are putting this all together, Build-A-Bear for Spices. And this is such a perfect Friday morning, like get us ready for the weekend. I can't speak for the others, but I want you to be like my own personal chef and educator. So, because I do not eat as healthy I need to, and I am a really boring and bland eater. And yes, turmeric would scare me away. So okay, so we talked about right before we went on, you're in Raleigh. I'm in Chapel Hill. So can I come to your classes? Can anyone come? Do we have to enroll? So, because I know I want to get involved a lot more. You've got me completely motivated to be
Yes.
healthy, but you're going to need to hold my hand to do it.
Yes, I on my website I usually put when we have classes. We just finished one for Duke called, and anybody could have went to that one too, called Hypertension, Diabetes, and Falls, managing your recovery through food and things like that. So when I have classes or classes are coming up, I usually put them on my website, or either I do Facebook or Instagram so people can see them. And if I know it's a certain area that people want these classes, I'll have flyers out, or either I'll contact people. But normally, usually organizations will contact me and say, hey, do you have time to come and um, do a demonstration or a workshop or something like that? And then if they can't be there, then I usually have someone with me that can do the Zoom, and then I can answer questions on Zoom and in person, because I
That's
want to
great.
make sure everybody has a chance to um, be there.
And that's true. I did see on your website you had a whole bunch of events where you did have your managing hypertension, diabetes, and falls. I actually
Mhm.
wanted to ask all about that, but that's good to know that people can come to that. And I want to have you come and do a lot more in Orange County, and we need to have you do a
Mhm.
lot more with the coalition. You do have, I know I would love for you to talk about your creative sustainability. That seems, yeah, on your website, you talk about that as your pillar program.
Yeah.
Explain to folks what the creative sustainability program is for participants.
Creative sustainability is another way of saying home economics with a twist, because they don't teach home economics anymore. So we put it as creative state sustainability as we go through. And we say pillars because that's what we started from, but it's not necessarily that's what our classes are. That was just the first program that we started from. And then from that program, it blossomed to all these other programs where we teach dining etiquette, budgeting, meal prep, nutrition. Before COVID, we were doing field trips where we go to the farmers market to show different farms and different things that you can get at the farmers market, and the price difference from the farmers market to grocery store. And when we do grocery store field trips, like if we go to Sprouts, we'll say, hey, in Sprouts, just stay in the produce and the meat section. The rest of this you can get from Walmart. Or if we go to Harris Teeter, if you're over 65, bring your coupons, plus you get a discount. And then it's kind of like stacking there and say, we can
So
get
on
this here.
Thursdays, or yeah, when it's the senior day, yeah. Well,
Yes.
and it's interesting you mention the going to the farmers market, and I did see one of the things that you teach, canning and preserving food. And I
Yep.
went through a kick. I got it for the holidays, and I was like, I'm gonna start canning. It's there's some things that are easy and some things that are harder to do. But so it says that you also teach folks, so you teach folks how to buy it in bulk and then create your own, so that way it's healthier and you
Mhm.
have.
Yep. And dehydrate. A lot of people really sleep on dehydrating. You can dehydrate a 5 pound bag of onions in a can, and then you don't have to go out and buy onions for at least a year. And when you dehydrate it down, it's really concentrated, so you don't have to use as much. So it's lasting. So you may
Okay.
not have to buy that again. And I dehydrate everything from vegetables, fruit. I haven't done meat yet. I'm looking into getting one of those was it freeze dryers? That
Yeah,
might be a little bit
well, it's
easier.
interesting you say that. Now I'm just jumping in because I'm all excited. We have a dehydrator and we've had it for about, I don't know, almost 20 years. And my husband makes beef jerky. So that's
Yep.
what he normally does. He did try fruits once, so it is mostly meat, but I never thought to use it. So I have it right there in the closet. I
Mhm.
never thought to do it with onions and for other vegetables, and it's a way to preserve it too. Again, there's so much that I need to learn,
Mhm.
clearly. And so, and I realized I was asking about the farmers market before because you were talking about affordability. And I know it's all, and I'm here in Chapel Hill and Carborough, and the farmers markets are so popular, but they do seem more expensive. So how do you help people decide? I love these field trip ideas.
Mhm.
You know, how do you sort of manage the cost and the local and where to buy?
You buy in season, and
Yeah.
also they have a section on there called the uglies, where
Yes.
it's not perfect and your stomach's not going to know that it's ugly because you're going to chop it up anyway. So unless you're doing stuffed peppers for an event or something like that, or the sweet potato doesn't look perfect, you can still use it. So don't be afraid of the uglies. It's just different. So a lot of people over like skip that, and then some farmers market, they want to put the best produce out that looks perfect and things like that, just kind of like the grocery store. But they do have a side where they set aside and they call it the uglies because it may have a curve on it or it might not be as long and this, that, and other. It's the
Oh.
same thing, it's just different.
Okay, all right. So you're giving us so many tips and tricks, and I love the organization. So I know we only have a few minutes left. How is your organization funded? This is your time to do a shout out if you're looking for partners, but how, because is this all free for your participants, and do you receive funding from other groups, or is there a cost to participate?
It's kind of like a twofold. When we have a grant for the community, we use that grant to do community projects and things like that. We do have donors that donate for people to come to do the 5-week program. I mean, yeah, 5-week program. So when we do that, we pick a couple of people that was interested in it, and then we have them write thank you cards to the donors to say thank you for sponsoring my class. We also do fee for service, where we go out and we may cater for someone or an organization and things like that, and we use that to do like health fairs and things like that and giveaways so the community don't have to pay for it. We are in talks of having a kind of our first gala almost, but not really gala because it's kind of like a a
Mhm.
cooking competition. But it's called, I just came up with a new class called Cooking for Cancer, and it's a 2-part class to help cancer patients with their nutrition and making it taste good and fun and things like that. So we're hoping to find sponsors for that and volunteers. And for Halloween, we're doing a Halloween party at Seeds. I work at Seeds Durham. I work out of Seeds Durham. We're taking donations as far as supplies and money to buy some of the candies and things like that, because we want to buy the candy in one spot to make it safe so we know where that candy came from. But people can even donate like their time or decorations to make it fun because we just want to have a safe space for the kids.
Okay, well, there's clearly, this is just, well, now I'm going to do, this is just the appetizer. This is the teaser portion of our relationship with you, Shemecka, and with Slice325. Oh, where was, I was just about to ask. Okay, I was gonna, now I know because was thrown there. I'm so excited. The partnership between you and the coalition. I was
Mhm.
thinking about how we can partner together and what you would like to know from our coalition members. And I think it's great for our coalition members to get to know you and find ways that we can support your work. And so this is one way, is to be able to amplify, but listeners, I know you were at the Duke Caregiver event. So if any of you from other organizations need anything catered or presentations, it sounds like they can work with you. Are there other ways that you work with organizations? We're throughout North
Um,
Carolina, we provider.
Yeah, we do session like if we with Seeds, our collaboration with that is that we teach the kids and we get to use the space. And then other collaborations are if say like if we work with the coalition, it's like, hey, we can do maybe a couple classes or whatever. Could you help us spread the word out for this? Or could you ask your viewers what would they like to learn? Because if we get more information with that, we can come up with some ideas and things like that and kind of make it like a pilot program. So it's good for you all and us too for research.
All right. Well, this is wonderful. I'll put all silly puns that it's too early in the morning for me to try to do more fun food related puns here. But Shemecka McNeil of Slice325, thank you so much for joining us for Friday Facts. Please send us information. We've got our website, we've got our newsletter. We are happy to share information. And I know there was sort of happiness coming on the chat line, but really, we so appreciate you joining the Serious Illness Coalition conversation on Friday Facts. And thank you, everyone. I'll let everyone go and be productive and fulfilling, but I know this was really helpful to just get us going, and we'll be doing a lot more together.